All right, guys, thank you for that. Right now, we're going to welcome in that live guest. We've got Lou Stevens back with us once again. Wouldn't be Friday without some technical difficulties, so thank you for bearing with us, Louis, and welcome into the show. We're talking a little bit about software development in the freight space. You work at Metafora, and tell us a little bit about your role.
Thank you for having me. I hope these are better. So in my role, I'm a front-end software engineer focused at Metafora, and one of the big things that we talk about a lot is how to be successful in this space is the translation process. So a big part of what we do is translating business requirements, freight, business requirements, whether we're automating a manual task or things like that, optimizing. We're trying to translate those business ideas, business goals into usable functional software. So that is a process that is fraught with potential missteps and misunderstandings. So at Metaphor, we try to do a great job at being great communicators and partners, and that leads to great software.
And can you talk to that last point there? Because I'm sure communication is key, and that can go down to communicating the process, where you are throughout the process, and really what expectations are.
Exactly. So we try to be great partners because it's very important to understand the two things. What are we building and why are we building it? Once we understand those two things, then how we build it becomes very, very clear and straightforward. Through the process of building that software, understanding it, our goal is to, when the end product is complete, to have an enhanced feature or product that's even better than the idea that sparked it. So through the execution process, we want to have something, in our users' hands in this transportation space that is even better than what we dreamed up at the beginning. So communication is really our secret sauce. That's what makes us successful. And that's a key ingredient of the success we have in building this, disruptive freight technology.
For people in the transportation space, and specifically you guys at Metafora, we've spoken with your CEO, Peter Benchler, and with Ryan Schreiber a lot about the value between building your own type of software when you're looking at growing as a company versus buying and going out and seeking partnerships or seeking integrations with other existing tech that's on the market. A lot of that comes down to companies deciding, okay, do we look in-house to our in-house talent, or is it time to reach out to other folks and find some out-of-house talent to help us take our visions and our goals and make them reality, right? When you're looking about that build versus buy mentality or that in-house versus out-house sourcing, where do you think that we start to draw that time where it's time to look maybe outside of your own personal scope?
That's a good question. In my experience, and I think what makes us such great partners is the care that we have. So, that's a good question. But in my opinion, if you have people that can move quickly and care a lot in-house, then that's a wonderful thing to have. But I think a lot of times, as companies get bigger, and especially in this transportation space where, a lot of companies don't think of themselves as technology companies. They think of themselves as logistics companies. And we are experts in technology. We're experts in taking and understanding your business goals, business requirements, and turning them into functional software, into usable software that people love to use and it's easy to use and drives revenue, drives that value. So I think if a company is an expert at logistics and supply chain, I see I'm breaking up here. I hope it's not too bad. But if a company is an expert at logistics and supply chain, I think we're a great partner because we're experts in turning that into very usable, functional software. And I think, and so I would say that, the care that we bring to what your business is, what your goals are, and turning that into automation is is where we really shine. And I think, as I was saying before, I think that any company who is focused on logistics and supply chain and maybe is newer to the technology space or trying to grow and advance in that way, then we're great partners for that because we have the care and we also have the expertise.
And speaking of that partnership there, I can only imagine that it's really honed in on when you're talking about the integration process. Can you talk to us about how that process is and really what it looks like when you're looking to really hone in on what maybe some feedback channels are saying and really how to smooth some of those areas out?
Yeah. So again, I mean, communication is crucial with that. We have to understand what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go with your business. From there, having those conversations, it becomes easier to understand, how to integrate and ultimately want. And so what we try to do is we try to very quickly. We try to get something that's usable to in front of our clients, in front of our users, like early users, as quickly as possible. Get that feedback from the experts that we work with, and then tinker, tweak, iterate. So we're constantly getting better, and the iteration process is constantly driving better software, better user experience, and achieving those business goals quicker and at a more efficient and cost saving pace. So, again, like our goal is to make software development a team sport. And so we rely on the experts that we work with to give us that feedback, give us that quick feedback, and we move very quickly with that. And so, when you're talking about integrations and you're talking about build versus buy, I'm seeing a lot of similarities there because we become that great partner for these experts because we are experts at technology and we're also experts at communication and care. And so we're constantly being able to build and get feedback from them, and it's just a great, building process from that. So.
That feedback loop, which is great to see. Louis, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, we love having you guys from Metafora here on the show, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Communication is everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're going to take one final break. We'll be back to wrap up your show in just a few minutes.